on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcast. You can join all these, so you don't have to worry about any of that. But we're just adding the podcast, the video form, live to the YouTube channel. At least this one. In a few of the next episodes, we are adding them on in order to see what it looks like. We are getting a lot of new traffic through the YouTube channel, so we're just trying to reach as many people as we can. My name is Chris Rodriguez. Welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. The debate is settled. The U.S. national man team, kings of CONCACAF, once again beating Canada. Yesterday, I did a video that's doing pretty well, actually. I did a video on that, and it's interesting to see the reaction from people. The what's been transpiring as far as the opinions, the fans. A lot of the fans are not. I mean, they're happy that the U.S. won, of course, but they're not excited over the moon. This is not something that they're talking to right now, or that they could have missed work for. And that is something that is interesting to see. Interesting, definitely, because I expected a lot more people to be, more excited. And but I got a lot of comments also saying, listen, we're not a team that's going to be excited over a Nations League. We're not a team team that's going to be excited, that we're just waiting for to win this, and then now we're going to throw a part. No, we want more. A lot of people are not happy about Berhalter coming back to the U.S. national men's team, and that is something to talk about, because the U.S. just became, they just won the Nations League. People should be happy, and a lot of people are happy. I mean, it's not like they're not, but certainly not over the moon excited of this championship, so to speak. I'm kind of having tough times calling it championship. Listen, U.S. Soccer made this. U.S. Soccer, okay. CONCACAF made this tournament in talks with U.S. Soccer, Mexican Federation League, or Mexican Federation, and the Canadian Federation as the top, of the top federations to put this together in order to gain money, because that's what they like. They want money, and so they got it with this Nations League. But I'm getting a lot of talk. A lot of fans are like, "Listen, we're not. This is not something that we're over the moon about. It is what it is. The U.S. is at the moment at the top of the cream right now. They are, as the title says, as the thumbnail says, the king of CONCACAF. That is bottom line. The U.S. men's national team is at the top of the sport here in Central America and North America, and it is what it is. How far can it go for the U.S. men's national team? How far can they go right now is the concern. They won the Nations League. Mexico is not good. Canada yesterday certainly didn't show any progression. I mean, Alfonso Davis was there, but he didn't do much. So how far more can the U.S. Where's the competitors for the U.S. that can make the U.S. team better? Mexico, like I said, it's always going to be there. They're a derby, but they're not performing at a top level right now. And plus, besides Mexico, who else do you have other than Canada every now and then, Costa Rica every now and then, Panama every now and then, but right now Panama is not good. It's not looking good at all. And then after that, I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? You're not going to get any better at this point from just as far as competitors. You're not getting quality. You're not competing against quality teams, and that is something that we need to revisit. In future conversations. And we cancel a little bit now, of course. We got a lot of news to get to, a lot of U.S. soccer news, and a lot of European soccer also that we need to discuss, that we need to talk about. And so it is concerning because, I mean, the Gold Cup used to be the tournament for CONCACAF, where Mexicans, they brought everything. I mean, they actually divide. They used to divide their teams into one would go to Copa America, who they used to get invited to all the time, and then another, the best usually would go to the Gold Cup, and they would say, "Listen, we're probably not going to win the Copa America. You got Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, and like Peru. It gets tough in the Copa America. You know, they got these other teams. So, and actually, Mexico got to a finals many decades ago. They weren't able to capitalize and win. But listen, the money is in the Gold Cup simply because Mexican Americans fill up the stadiums, and it's easier to win. And for the U.S., it was always the Gold Cup. In the beginning, it was always about beating Mexico. Couldn't do it in a lot of times. So, but now, definitely the past 10 years, things have definitely changed, and for the better. And right now, the U.S. is reigning through the CONCACAF like nothing. So, my point was that the Gold Cup was the number one thing that everybody looked for. And now the U.S. is about to send a team, like a B team, B close to C team of players, because, of course, the players that played in Europe, they're not able to, nor they want to either, stay and compete for a Gold Cup that they won many times. And quite frankly, it's not going to make a difference. So that is, what they think, the players. Also, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the U.S. didn't have very many players in Europe like today. Today is actually probably the most ever. You had a few, Howard, goalkeeper, then you had the other goalkeeper, that bald guy, I can't remember his name no more, Gusan or something like that. And but older player. And then you had Landon Donovan that played at Bayern Munich for just a short period of time, and that was it. You had Josie Altidore, of course. He played at Villarreal. He played at in different teams, but it was just short. I mean, Bradley, of course, also played in Rome. But now, I mean, you got players in part of the U.S. national team that you didn't even know existed. As far as I didn't know existed. I didn't know a lot of these players that were playing in Europe. Like, I didn't know about Ballo, until not too long ago. It's not like you knew these players. You just didn't. And now all of a sudden they're all over the place, and they're able to. It's a norm now. I mean, if you say an American player is playing overseas in Europe, it used to be, okay, let me see what is that guy? Who is that guy? He must be good. Now it's not so much that anymore, and that is an important deal. An important deal. And so the U.S. winning the National League, the Nations Cup, or the Nations League, I'm not saying that that's not enough of a trophy, enough of a championship. I think it's very interesting to keep winning these, but you also have to know what else can you do. And this is also going to be a good test for the U.S. team when it comes to pairing again in the Gold Cup with this team, with this B team. How can they perform under these circumstances, not having all the starters? And I'm talking about 6 players are going to be gone, at least, if I'm not mistaken. Ballo's going to be gone. Pepe probably going to be gone. Pulisic for sure. McKinney, Dest, that's 5 right there. And the goalkeeper, of course. There's a lot of. This is going to be interesting how they can manage, and certainly I don't want to say that the Nations League doesn't matter. I was certainly happy. I wanted them to win. I celebrated the goals, but it doesn't fill me up. You know what I mean? It doesn't fill me up as a fan to watch the U.S. beat Canada for the Nations League. Maybe for the Gold Cup, since we're used to always, competing for that, maybe it's going to be different. But certainly didn't feel that as much. I was more concerned about the show and what the opinion was, what the fans thought about it. And that was one of the most important things for me at that point. Of course, seeing the U.S. win, that was a definitely plus. That was a definite plus. But the U.S. has been at the top of the CONCACAF for a long, long time. To be honest with you, I don't even think it's even close. I don't think it's even close. I don't think Mexico is near. I don't. I mean, they just fired Diego Coca. They just fired him. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how that develops. By the way, if you're interested in having more news and everything else related to the U.S. men's national team, U.S. soccer, MLS, European football, all in one place, maybe South American football at some point, please subscribe to the channel and stay up to date on everything that's going on in the football world.